Well, here's an update for the Chevy S10 V8 build. I started getting some noise in the valve train yet again, and I go to look at the roller rockers, and I noticed that I can freely spin the push rods. So I'm assuming the roller lifters are not pumping up or not holding. So I decided I'm just gonna rip it all out and replace all the roller lifters. A little expensive, I don't care. I want it done right. But as I took it off, I noticed that I'm getting what looks like, I don't know if you can see it, milkshake on the inside of the valve cover. It's not a good sign. So now I'm thinking, last couple days I've been driving it, I've been having white smoke out. Now it's been 40-50 degrees, so it's a little colder. Thought maybe it was just condensation, but from the looks of it, I might actually blow a head gasket. So I'm this far down, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the heads, and yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the heads and check it out. So as you can see, this head gasket doesn't really fit the head. So that's what caused this whole thing to, do what it did. Which caused, you can see that one had coolant on it. So that was my issue all along. The motor only has about 900 miles on it. 500 actually on the odometer, but probably 400 before I got the odometer working. So this is a Pro 500 R8 1003. It does not fit the small block Chevy, so I went out and got the Pro 773 Part 2 PT2, and let me pause this and I'll show you side by side the difference in between the two. Alright, so here, the old one's on top, the new one's on the bottom. You can actually see the holes that were on the top one rounded out. The bottom ones are perfectly aligned. So, if I take that one, throw it off to the side, and put this one on, it should, of course I can't do it one-handed, there we go. See, all the bolt holes line perfectly now, which is a whole lot better than it was before. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have issues with this one. Fingers crossed. Alright, I got the left side head on. Got it torqued down, so my torque specs, because it's aluminum, was 40 at first, 50 the second time around, and 65 my third time around. I did not try to put the header back on yet though, because I'm going to wrap them in heat guard, heat shield, whatever you want to call it. My passenger side, on my driver's side, I just took out the plug, and you can see it's the same issue that I was having on the passenger side. The very last plug was way back there, and it's still soaking wet. So I think both head gaskets failed at the same time, causing my number 7 and number 8 cylinders to number 7 and number 8 cylinders to fill with coolant. So I wasn't firing on all 8, only on 6, and getting that. Yeah, we'll find out as soon as I pull the head off. Alright, just got this side off, and again, you can see the poor craftsmanship of the gasket. It pulls, it just terrible. Especially that one. That one's really bad. And the last cylinder does have coolant in it. Everything else looks somewhat decent, but Just gonna take off the valve cover, take off the head gasket, put on the new one, slap it back together. So over the weekend, I decided I was just gonna go ahead and take out the inner fender wells, just to make it so much easier to put on and take off the headers as needed. And I gotta say, it really does make a difference. I also took out the, well, I don't know what you want to call it, the heat unit. It used to be heat and AC. I took that out to replace it with just a heat blower. I just don't use it, so I still got to make got a little piece of metal out, cover that up. Not a big deal. Got some wires I got to cut off because I'm not using it no more. Gonna unthread all that and do it. Other than that, the motor is back together, and I'm just waiting on the header wrap so I can put the headers back on and we can start it back up. So I finally got the truck back together. Headers are wrapped. Fuel injection on. Got everything buttoned down, tightened up, whatever you want to call it. And I'm about to go ahead and do my first try to start. It's been raining like a banshee for like a week straight, so I haven't been able to touch it because this one's, outside versus in the garage. And so I haven't really been able to come out here and to do anything. But before I start, I want to make sure I have absolute full battery charge. I'm going to grab that and then hopefully get this thing fired up. Alright, I got the battery charger on. We are charging. So fingers crossed, you can jump in here and fire it up. Well, everything's coming alive. That's not a good sign. So apparently something's not working. First things first, let's try a little starting fluid. If it hits on that, we know it's fuel. Alright, so it's not fuel. So now I pull spark plugs and check compression. Alright, I got the compression tester hooked up in cylinder number 3. Just easy one to get to. And the spark plug did not smell like fuel. So that should be enough to find out. Compression is 150, so it's not compression. That tells me it's spark. We got fuel, we got compression, now we need spark. So I have to go over there and figure out what's going on with the spark. Alright, so I have this plugged into my ignition box. Set to 20 volts, and if I hit the starter, it should come alive. Nothing. So I'm thinking I'm not getting power. I got positive and negative feed going in fine, so it has to be the remote wire. Alright, chasing wires down. I see, when I tucked all my wires, one must have pulled out of something. I'm going to try to hook it straight to a live right here. And now I'm going to, everything plugged in? Yes, everything's plugged in. I'm going to try and start again and see if that was my issue. Come to find out, after lots of testing, the wires on the bottom of my friggin' Hyperspark was an issue all along. It just pulled out just enough where it wasn't making contact. So, with that said, did some more rewiring, as you can see. I should now be able to. It's trying. Okay, I forgot to put some spark plugs back on. Not a big deal, but it starts. I'm good. I'm happy.